Kia ora and Happy New Year. This is Arun Jacob, your friendly and frank licensed New Zealand immigration advisor, bringing you the first immigration update all the way from beautiful Hamilton here in New Zealand. With COVID-19 all around us still and with new strains emerging in different parts of the world, the first update today is going to be about who can travel to New Zealand. The people who may travel into New Zealand right now at this point are New Zealand residents and citizens, of course, and also Australian citizens who are normally resident here in New Zealand, and also those with a critical purpose who have been approved by Immigration New Zealand. The other category of people who are very concerned about when the New Zealand borders will open and they can be allowed back into the country are international students. There were a lot of international students who were studying in New Zealand and then left the country just before the border closure, and now they have not been able to return back to the country. But there is some good news for them as well. Minister Hipkins has just made an announcement saying that they're going to let back 1,000 students, international students, to come back into New Zealand in 2021. This is applicable to those who already had a visa and were already enrolled in a course here in New Zealand, either in 2019 or in 2020, and who had left New Zealand and then got stuck behind closed borders. Of course, all these international students will also need to get themselves a place on the MIQ or the Managed Isolation Quarantine, and the institutions are working with the government to ensure that there is a list of students who can be allowed back into the country. The government has also increased the living expenses that is required for these returning international students, and it's going up now from $15,000 to $20,000. But overall, I think it's a great opportunity for the students to come back into New Zealand, especially those who were at the bachelor's or higher levels like postgraduate diplomas, masters and PhDs. Even as we make this video, there is a new alert out there from the minister which says that anybody coming into New Zealand will require a negative COVID test before they board their flight or craft in which they are arriving into New Zealand. Also bear in mind that you might require an extra test within 24 hours of you arriving here into New Zealand. Moving on from arrival, let's talk about managed isolation and quarantine. Travelers from all countries arriving into New Zealand will necessarily have to undergo a 14-day stay in a managed isolation or quarantine facility. It is important to note that you need to have a confirmation of your place in a managed quarantine facility. Without that particular voucher and the confirmation, you will not be allowed to board the aircraft. Remember, once you have entered the country, it is absolutely imperative that you need to follow all health instructions, failing which you could be detained or deported, because New Zealand is really fighting hard against this virus. There has been a lot of confusion about work visa holders who are outside New Zealand at the moment and whether they can re-enter the country or not. Well, the government announced last month that some work visa holders who normally reside in New Zealand but are now overseas may be permitted to enter back into the country. So if you had a work visa which was either an entrepreneur work visa or a work to residence visa or an essential skills work visa, and if you departed New Zealand between the 1st of December 2019 and the 9th of October 2020, there is a possibility that you can be admitted back into the country. Please note, for essential skills work visa holders, your employment should have been at the mid or higher skill level of employment, and your earnings should have been assessed at or above the median wage. COVID-19 has had one of the most negative effects on families and couples. Because of the sudden onset of the virus, a lot of families and couples have been separated. But the government of New Zealand is aware of this and it is the policy of the government to try and reunite these families and couples at the earliest. As a result, the temporary visa applications of partners and children of New Zealand citizens and residents are still being accepted and processed, as also for critical workers who are needed in our fight against COVID. And one of the most important updates I would like to share is that the government has temporarily suspended the selection of expression of interest for the skilled migrant category visa and as well as for the parent resident visa. But hey, look, this is only going to be temporary, and it's only a matter of time before the selections are back up again, because New Zealand as a country, we continuously need those skills and those migrants, and it's only a matter of time before those selections start all over again. Well, that's it from me in this episode of Immigration Updates from New Zealand. Like you, we at AJV Global are also waiting for this whole virus situation to go away so that it can be business as usual and all you beautiful people can come into the country either on temporary or on resident visas. But in the meantime, stay tuned and keep subscribing to our channel so that you get all the latest updates from myself and my colleagues from Team AJV Global. Till the next time, this is Arun Jacob signing off from Hamilton, New Zealand.